Buongiorno, Edge9 è a Barcellona per il Mobile World Congress 2025. In questi giorni incontreremo diverse aziende protagoniste del settore delle telecomunicazioni e dell'IT per toccare alcuni dei temi più interessanti di questa fase di evoluzione del mercato. Parleremo di intelligenza artificiale, di come si sta spostando sempre di più verso l'edge e verso i device. Parleremo del 5G Advance e delle reti standalone e di come questo stia abilitando nuovi servizi per gli operatori. E sicuramente parleremo anche di sicurezza e di come qualsiasi tecnologia in ambito mobile o IT oggi deve essere sempre tenuta in sicurezza. So a main topic in the last year or so has been the shift to 5G standalone and what it means for both operators and customers. But one key element seems to be that operators must embrace a cloud-native approach in order for 5G standalone to actually work and fulfill its potential. What is Nokia's point of view on this?
So this is a really important topic for us as our customers are on this journey to 5G standalone. And as you said, we have really invested a lot in making our core entirely cloud native, and that's really necessary to get the automation and the agility and a lot of the benefits of being 5G standalone. So we have done that across our voice core, our data core, subscriber data management, and that cloud native is a lot of what our customers are really embracing. We've also invested in core SaaS, in making our core available for enterprises as well as for service providers. And a lot of that automation, that comes with cloud native, we're also doing sort of the next frontier of automation with GitOps. And so that tie between being cloud native and the 5G standalone core is a lot of why we've had so much momentum in the market with a lot of customers adopting our 5G standalone core. So we've been rated #1 as a leader by Gartner in the Magic Quadrant, #1 on Vision, and we actually have the majority of the customers in the world who are live with 5G standalone core are using Nokia. It's about 55% by our estimate. And we think it's that commitment we've had to cloud native and any cloud across our entire portfolio of core that has really driven that success and momentum.
Perfect. But one key element about standalone and the cloud native architecture is that it enables use case scenarios that have actually been the promise of 5G since its inception.
Right.
So now we have private networks, we have network slicing, but it seems like the focus is shifting towards APIs. And what is the value of APIs for you, for your customers and the end user?
So that, I think, is a prime way that our customers are looking to monetize the investment that they've made in their 5G networks. So you take this core, the standalone core that's cloud native, you build automation capabilities on top of that, and that's what enables the API exposure. So through our network as code platform, we make it easy for service providers to expose those APIs and then for developers to consume those APIs. So enterprises, industrial developers, through the network as code. We've invested in Rapid, an acquisition that we did late last year with a large developer community and just a very robust API platform. So when you think about the kinds of APIs and how those are getting monetized. Kind of the earlier class, which we are very involved in, is APIs that are really getting information from the network. What is the location of a phone where you come to SIM swap or anti-fraud kinds of use cases. So we recently announced just last week with Deutsche Telekom that we're collaborating on that kind of thing. But the next frontier of APIs and API monetization is where you're not just getting information from the network, but you're actually programming the network. You're changing the performance of the network. You're changing the quality of service on demand as it's needed. And that's part of what we're showing here at Mobile World Congress is remote driving. So you can actually drive a car that is located 800 kilometers away, and that is using our platform to have the very high quality of service on demand so that you can safely drive a remote car. And so those things like remote vessels coming into ports, being able to pilot those remotely, take those location-based APIs as well as a quality of service on demand and blend those together into the use cases that really have a lot of business value and can be monetized by the service providers.
I've actually drove the car remotely, yes?
I did too. It's interesting. You're tempted to oversteer a little bit, but thankfully there's a driver in the car as well as safety driver.
And they told me that you need to do 6 hours of testing before they actually license you to drive it. But the use cases are very interesting, and
Right, and it's all about the APIs of the network.
Yeah.
Right, that's on Telefónica's network.
And another topic we need to talk about is security. I just had a very interesting demo of how AI allows security to be proactive now on the network.
Right.
How important it is for you, and how do you push this concept to your customers in the whole Nokia platform?
It's obviously extremely critical to our customers. It's something that, they must secure for the trust of their end customers. And as we evolve to 5G, the attack surfaces change. And as cyber criminals get more and more adept with AI, we are using AI to stay a step ahead of them. And so what we're really doing with our suite is it's very integrated into our autonomous networks proposition, because you can't have an autonomous network unless you have that security deeply built into it. So the endpoint detection and response, the cyber dome that we have, we are really going a step beyond with AI and Gen AI, so that we can proactively hunt for threats, that we can equip data scientists to understand new use cases, to create correlations across the network, and really, reduce the threat and reduce the dwell time if a threat does come along. And so our solution is really unique because it's very tailored for the telco industry. They're telco-specific LLMs. Our knowledge of the telco industry and telco networks enables us to really build very robust security solutions. And again, absolutely critical for our customers on their journey to more autonomous networks.
You mentioned AI, which is the last topic I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
You mentioned how it helps in security, but we also saw this other demo where AI actually manages to help in transitioning operators from one network to the other.
Right.
And overall, it seems like there's a new level of maturity for AI. The LLMs have evolved. There are more specialized LLMs, as you were saying. So if we could close this very interesting conversation up on what you think is today's role of AI for you, and how do you see it progressing in the foreseeable future?
Yes. So of course we've had AI, classical AI in our products for quite some time, doing things like improving energy efficiency. We've had that available for a while. About a year ago, we started building a lot more Gen AI into our products, into the security products, into the private wireless products, so that employees of our customers can have that natural language interaction. And kind of the next frontier of that we're starting to move into is more agentic AI. So in a digital operations center, in a security context. But what you mentioned before is, we're seeing, unfortunately, so many more extreme weather events. So say there's a hurricane, it's critical to be able, for our customers to be able to keep their networks up so that, people can communicate with each other in these cases. And if core network goes down, that is critically important to be able to have the resiliency to bring it up somewhere else as fast as possible. And so what you're referring to is the resiliency that we're providing with AI, where we can have a warm core that's kind of on standby in public cloud, and then using AI when there's an event like that to very, very quickly redirect the core to a public cloud and spin that up very quickly so that it's imperceptible to the end customers of our clientele. And so that kind of AI can really improve the end customer's experience dramatically, to be able to have the resiliency of a network and the security of a network when our customers need it.
So there is a very important trend right now where AI is at the center of everything practically. But the way AI is developed and implemented is changing. And Lenovo is definitely part of this, because a lot of the inference is now done at the edge.
Correct.
What is your view on this, and how the whole ecosystem is evolving?
You're absolutely right that, first of all, AI overtook the entire Mobile World Congress this year, right? Clearly. Now, AI is a tiered environment that we have at the data centers, where we'll have powerful learning machine that are training models to recognize a bottle from a cat, for example. We'll have edge devices that will do the AI inferencing, being able to execute those models closer to where the data is actually produced. And finally, we'll have AI on devices as well, on your laptop, on our devices, tablets or phone, which is contain the data that is very personal to us. At Lenovo, we kind of tier this into this hybrid AI AI architecture in three categories. One starting with the personal AI, and this is the data that is related to me and how I use my laptop, my preference, and my data is contained and maintained on the laptop or tablet, and the model is trained there. In the enterprise AI is where we'll have models that is containing data that are very sensitive to enterprise, that they don't necessarily want to export to the cloud because it's too big or because it's too sensitive, and want to have this AI inferencing done on their premise. That's our enterprise AI with tighter security. And finally, we have the public cloud environment, which are the DeepSeek, ChatGPT model that are very powerful, very large, very open. So hybrid AI at Lenovo is really the blend of the personal, enterprise, and public AI coming together to deliver a better outcome to our customers.
And here at MWC, you're presenting a new edge server, which actually incorporates all the elements you were discussing about right now. Can you describe it for me?
Correct. Well, let me show you. Actually, this is the new ThinkEdge SC100. This is a very powerful edge AI server that is very compact, very secure, that is designed to purposely process a lot of video input at the edge. This is using Intel technology and has a concealed environment that does not have airflow in it. We have an innovation that allows us to cool down the device using the fins on the top and special ventilation system that allows us to run this extremely quiet, extremely powerful in a very ruggedized environment. So this allows us to, if I go back to these models where we recognize how to learn to recognize a cat in a bottle, for example, well, now this is where connecting the cameras in the retail store, on the campus, in the building, and where these models are trained and being able to identify what is a cat, what is a bottle type of thing.
And since the other underlying element to every technology right now, being in IT, in TLC, whatever, is security, a server like this, which will be installed in non-controlled environment outside of the data center, how do you make it secure?
You touched a good point. The data centers have fence, doors, guards, biometric locks, and so on. This is running close to where the data is created, and it has to be as secure. We're extending the data center towards the edge, towards where the data is created, and we need to protect the device and the data it contains. So we have temper detection in there. We have motion detection. So if somebody steals the device, if somebody moves with it, if somebody opens it, it will disable the data. The hard drive and the data it contains is self-encrypted drive so that it's highly secure. By the time people are able to decrypt this, the data is irrelevant. So there's a lot of technology innovation that Lenovo put inside of our ThinkEdge portfolio to reflect the same security level you have in the data center, all the way down to your edge where you're doing your AI inferencing.
So we are in Mobile World Congress. The main topic is always 5G, and 5G is evolving. What is your point of view on the evolution of 5G?
Look, 5G is now catching up big time, right? When we look at 5G, we think about how do we make sure it's secure from the get-go. And what we're working is on three broad things. First, how do we ensure service providers can secure their 5G network? Second, service providers have made a lot of investment in building 5G infrastructure. How do we ensure that they're able to monetize that with enterprises through 5G as a slice service and Prisma SASE 5G, which we announced today? And third, as private 5G networks are getting built, especially in critical infrastructure, utility, oil and gas, mining and manufacturing, how do you secure these private 5G networks? That's where we are going.
And in terms of cybersecurity, which is the essence of Palo Alto, what is different in your platform approach compared to other vendors?
So if you think of AI, we're looking at it in two different aspects. First, how are we using AI to make security better? And that's through a combination of machine learning, deep learning. We're infusing that with all things we're seeing in Gen AI. We call that precision AI for cybersecurity. And today on our platform, we're able to stop 30.8 billion attacks every single day. And we're stopping a large number of net new attacks, day zero attacks as well. The second thing is, how do we secure AI itself? And there we have two aspects. One is employee use of AI. How do we get full visibility, control, data protection, and threat protection of AI, Gen AI pod applications? And second is around, as organizations are building AI applications to provide better experiences to their customers, how do we ensure we are securing these applications, their model, the data, and the application. And that's with AI runtime security.
Perfect. And also, the last thing is that you already kind of mentioned it, is that several companies use a lot of different cybersecurity tools. While you have a different approach, well, you offer an overall platform that can manage everything. What are the main advantages from this point of view?
So first, if you think about it, the platform approach only works when you have best-of-breed components, which are fully integrated, providing a seamless solution to the customers. Platformization will help simplify and unify network security, providing better security outcomes, reducing the operational costs and operations of the customer, and giving a better ROI.
There's been a lot of talk about how 5G is evolving. There's been talks about standalone 5G networks. What is Ericsson's point of view because you have a very important perspective on the market, on the evolution of 5G.
So we are halfway through in the 5G cycles. It's been a very exciting start of 5G, very much setting the foundation, deploying 5G, using mid-band, establishing the SA architecture and rolling that out. And now we're reeling into the second half of 5G, and that's really about what's next. And that's the theme of our show this year. On what is next for 5G. How can we use this network to enable new use cases and deliver value to the community and to the CSPs?
And this is a very important element because operators and service providers have been looking for ways to monetize their investment and their assets. And what do you think are the use cases that will mostly benefit from this evolution of 5G?
I think this year in Barcelona has been very excited. Last year was very much about establishing an SA architecture to be able to do slicing and new use cases. Now everyone talks about what use cases I'm going to run. And it's different in different markets. Some is looking at point of sales terminals, making sure that you can do a specific slice for that. Some is talking about mission critical, slicing the network for police forces, making sure they have connectivity. Other ones is looking at broadcasting TV shows. So there's a lot of new use cases, and it's a lot about trialing this one out, understanding both how they work technically, but also the willingness to pay for these use cases. What is the most attractive industries to go into? Where can we make money? How can we funnel that money to the CSPs? And how can we enable new cool stuff on the 5G stuff that we haven't been able to do so far?
And in order for any use case to work, the network has to be secure. And now that we're moving more and more towards cloud-based architecture, there is more interconnection between IT and telecommunications. Attacks are more complex. How do you secure the network, and what is Ericsson's role in making sure that the network is secure?
Yeah, security of the networks are so important. As we go along on this 5G journey, everything we do is just becoming more and more critical, integrated part of society. And that is our job to make sure that we continue to keep that in a secure manner. And you're absolutely correct that as we're moving into cloud-native technologies, we also introduce new threat services. And that's why we're working constantly to make sure that we keep up with that. And we do that through a zero-trust architecture, so we're making sure everything is secure, our own cost layers, but also the CNF in this environment. So this is an area that we're going to continue to put high focus on, and it's going to be a very important one as we progress in the 5G journey.
And the last thing I'd like to talk about is AI. I mean, AI is another main theme here at Mobile World Congress. Can you give us two different points of view? So one, how is AI helping Ericsson in managing the network? And on the other side, how is the network enabling these new AI use cases?
So AI is coming along across all our products in our portfolio. We use it in our baseband to predict how users are moving, to make sure that the algorithms are learning based on the user movement and making sure we can deliver the best performance. So we're embedding AI even down to the radio node, but we're also doing it centrally. So we're building functionality, how to manage the network, how to run it more efficiently, how to distribute energy in the network in the most efficient way. So we're building that across, and I'm very excited about the capabilities that it's bringing to the CSP, both to deliver a better experience, but also to keep down cost of what the complexity actually then introduce into the network. And this is where AI comes in, because AI is such a good tool to use for complex problem solving, and that's really where we can see leverage. So that's from a network side. From a user side, we of course see AI coming along as well. And there is a lot of new use cases in AI. And we are now really collaborating with our ecosystem partner to understand where is inferencing best done and where is learning best done. And where do we then place that into the network, and how do we then interconnect that with the journey of 5G? And this is where we're also excited about the 5G advanced capabilities of the slicing to make sure we keep down the latency for these type of interference use cases that we see emerging in the network. So it's going to come across in everything we do, and it's going to come across how we use the network as well.
Allora, sta diventando un appuntamento fisso.
Una tradizione.
E proprio in continuità con l'anno scorso ti chiederei qual è la visione di Verizon sull'evoluzione del 5G standalone e del fatto che poi questo comporta anche un po' una rivisitazione delle architetture che gli operatori come Verizon devono implementare per renderlo operativo.
Beh, innanzitutto negli ultimi 12 mesi abbiamo fatto passi da gigante nella implementazione dello standalone 5G e ci sono almeno 3 cose che vorrei portare alla tua attenzione. Innanzitutto, lavorando su un'architettura standalone 5G c'è un minore consumo di energia degli apparati mobili. Questo perché? Perché l'apparato mobile parla soltanto col protocollo 5G e non con il protocollo 5G e il protocollo 4G, che è, diciamo, la metodologia in assenza di standalone. La seconda cosa è una maggiore rapidità nel creare la connessione sulla rete mobile. Proprio per questo motivo, che non ha il doppio passaggio 5G 4G, c'è la maggiore rapidità nello stabilire la comunicazione con la rete, ma anche nel richiedere i servizi di rete. Quindi se io chiedo un download o un upload, è molto più rapido questo processo di quanto era in precedenza. E il terzo è la questione di sicurezza. Perché? Perché ancora una volta lavoriamo oggi con gli standard di sicurezza del 5G e ci sono 2 aspetti. Il primo è la crittografia della comunicazione all'interno della rete 5G e il secondo l'autenticazione del terminale che accede alla rete. Ancora una volta non hai una doppia autenticazione 4G e 5G, ma hai un solo processo che tra l'altro è basato sui più recenti standard di sicurezza.
E l'implementazione di queste reti 5G standalone permette di concretizzare un po' quella che era la promessa da sempre del 5G, di avere servizi avanzati e personalizzati poi per i vari clienti. Quali sono gli scenari d'uso che tu vedi consolidarsi adesso che le reti 5G standalone si stanno aprendo?
Allora, il vero valore, diciamo, di una rete standalone è che la rete è una rete software defined. Cosa vuol dire? Che puoi utilizzare le risorse di rete in modo dinamico laddove queste risorse sono necessarie. Una use case è lo network slicing. Cosa vuol dire? Vuol dire la possibilità di definire degli slice delle porzioni di rete e assegnare a determinate applicazioni una porzione di rete per supportare performance prestabilite. Quindi oggi io posso portare sulla rete, utilizzare sulla rete applicazioni con performance prestabilite di latenza o performance prestabilite di throughput. Esempi: nel mondo medicale, oggi posso utilizzare la rete per i sensori i sensori per i pazienti, quindi per esempio per pazienti diabetici, quegli strumenti che oggi controllano il valore del valore di zucchero nei sangui e possono iniettare insulina laddove è necessario. Questi sono collegati oggi con la rete e io posso avere la garanzia che questa comunicazione funzionerà sempre, indipendentemente dalla congestione della rete e con le performance richieste. Altre applicazioni che noi lanceremo in Verizon in qualche settimana è per i first responder, quindi polizia, pubblica sicurezza, ambulanze, vigili del fuoco. Ci sarà la possibilità di avere SIM e comunicazioni dati che comunque funzioneranno con diciamo performance prestabilite indipendentemente dalla congestione della rete. Quindi questo vale soprattutto se ci sono incidenti o incendi o uragani, laddove chiaramente la rete è in sofferenza, le performance garantite per i first responder sono comunque prestabilite. Il fatto è la quality of service sulla rete mobile, qualcosa che ci siamo sempre sognati e oggi è possibile con il core standalone.
E un aspetto che in qualche modo credo sia anche correlato è il modo con cui l'intelligenza artificiale diventa importante anche per voi operatori nel riuscire a orchestrare e a gestire, diventa uno strumento che voi siete quasi costretti un po' ad utilizzare.
È uno strumento essenziale. Nel momento in cui hai la flessibilità di utilizzare le risorse laddove conviene, è chiaro che machine learning e intelligenza artificiale imparano a come la rete funzionano e imparano a gestire la rete nel modo più efficiente possibile. Per esempio, ci sono alcune ore del giorno, alcuni giorni della settimana che porzioni della rete sono poco utilizzati, quindi cosa faremo? Di fatto spegneremo una parte della rete, quindi conservando energie, conservando risorse, e invece riallocando risorse laddove la rete ne ha più necessità. Quindi immagina la rete come uno strumento, quasi una utility, dove tu con delle API puoi chiedere più rete o più capacità e meno capacità on demand in real time.
So this Mobile World Congress is very interesting. There is a kind of a convergence between IT, TLC, software, hardware, cloud. What is your point of view in this evolution and from Red Hat's perspective?
Well, we're really focused on providing a common cloud infrastructure that can support both IT and networking workloads for operators that are building out sort of their next generation. And then with that common cloud infrastructure, it's about onboarding the network functions to provide core functionality or RAN functionality, and then on the IT side, the supporting workloads that build out the entire network. And what we're seeing is this escalation in customers that are really interested in creating that common infrastructure.
And once this infrastructure is more integrated, telco operators are looking for new use cases in order to generate more revenue and to exploit all the investments. And there's lots to talk about APIs right now. What is your point of view on how this topic is evolving and also the role of Red Hat?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of experience in this space. So we're used to helping build out applications that surface APIs, and part of what we would have called in the past the API economy. I think there's something really valuable there for networks and for network operators. The challenge, I think, is creating differentiation while also having some consistency across different network providers, because application engineers need something common to target. If it's too fragmented, then it'll be difficult for those applications to take advantage of those network APIs.
And last but not least, we cannot skip the AI topic. But it's interesting because, I mean, this year the hype is about agentic AI and how actually each element plays a different role in this environment. But there is definitely a role for telco operators in managing where the workloads are moving and how to best serve AI with their networks. What is your point of view?
I'll use the AI RAN as an example. There we see three use cases for AI. One is in the network, so sort of the beamforming part of signaling and using GPUs in that context. The other is that operational efficiency. You have a lot of data generated from infrastructure. How do you operationalize that and maybe even do closed loop remediation? And then there's it's infrastructure with GPUs or with accelerators. How do we expose that for other use cases that could be consumer or business facing? And there, agentic certainly could play a key role. I think the thing I like to go focus on is what are the use cases? And then we can build the technology to serve that use case. Agentic is really a great example of providing a collection of task-specific models, which can then be smaller, trained to work together through some agentic framework to solve a particular task. And the reason I like that smaller is it can be really efficient with the hardware utilization, because we have power budgets and heat budgets and that kind of thing.